Here to weigh in on the convention and after this is over is House Majority Leader Kevin McCarthy. Leader McCarthy, good to see you.
Well, thanks for letting me join you.
Thank you so much for joining us. First off, let's talk party unity for a second. Are people coming behind Donald Trump at this point?
You know, there's always some friction going on. We watched a little of that last night. But what's interesting, I talked to some members that weren't there yet, but with the selection of Mike Pence, and he did an excellent job last night. I see a lot more endorsements coming that way.
Okay, so there's a lot of energy in the room, certainly, and I guess given this convention and what we've seen, that helps the unity, right? And certainly Governor Pence.
Governor Pence helps the unity, the convention helps the unity, and a little friction helps the unity too, because it makes people get off the sidelines and get a part of it.
You know, when I speak with business leaders, they're worried about the Senate, they're worried about the House. Are House Republicans unified moving forward enough for you to be confident that you'll retain the majority in 2016?
I'm very confident that the House retains the majority. You know, we have a better way. We have an agenda out there about tax policy, better health care, security, even home and abroad, poverty, an issue that a lot of people have not spoken about, and regulations. Anywhere you go in small business. I created my first small business when I was 19. I don't think I could do that same thing today.
Wow.
It's a real challenge out there.
And that's because of all the regulation.
All the regulations,
yeah.
The addition that it has made. Well, the statistics show it. We're at one of our lowest points in the last 17 years of new businesses startup.
Let me ask you about the idea of a 15% corporate tax rate and Donald Trump's plans for his tax reform package. How is that going to fly?
Well, remember, the Constitution says, Article 1, Section 7, that all tax reform, or all revenue starts in the House. That's with Ways and Means. We have just come out with a better way where we have a tax plan. Lowers the corporate rate, also individuals as well. It puts us in a better place so government doesn't force companies to go to another country, doesn't force companies to keep the money overseas and spend it in other countries, but bring it back home and invest in America. That has a very good chance of passing because that's where it starts in the House. The plan was devised in the House. Members are supportive of it. So I think we've got a real shot at making tax reform if we have the right person in the White House.
So we may not see Donald Trump's 15%, but you think taxes are coming down if Donald Trump is the president, and that's going to pass the House?
It'll pass the House at the very beginning. Look, growth is a lot of answers to America. If we get up to 4% growth, that solves so many of our problems, especially when we have this frustration out there. I hear it every day, especially from the middle class, that they're worth less today after the last 8 years. We've never seen this in American history, 2% or less growth under this president. We need a fundamental change, and I think that's a lot of things that are driving behind Donald Trump and a lot of people getting behind that you've never seen in the Republican Party before.
We were just talking with Andy Puzder about the fact that we haven't seen 3% growth at all under President Obama. Let me ask you about trade, because sometimes when I speak with CEOs of large corporations, they're worried about some of the commentary coming out of Donald Trump as it relates to trade. We don't want to have all trade wars with everybody should he become president, right?
No, we don't want trade wars. We want to have a trade policy with other countries. You know, under this president, we didn't have the authority to even negotiate trade. So there's been 100 trade agreements that America has not been a part of. We want good trade. That's what Donald Trump is talking about. So we can look at TPP, make the fundamental changes we need, because it's not just about trade, it's about security around the world. Do we want other countries dealing with China and their regulations, or do we want it on the American scale? If we really want to keep American jobs, we've got to be in the negotiation room, and we should set the table to our standards. That's what we talk about when we say fair trade and good trade.
So what is the secret sauce to moving the needle on growth? Everyone's talking about economic growth. That's what we need to see.
That's exactly what we need to see. We have to have tax policy to start off with. We're blessed to be in America. Energy. We could be energy independent. That would fundamentally change. Look, Airbus, where did they put their new facility? Alabama, because the energy costs and right to work. We need a good legal system. That's why the Supreme Court is so important to have Donald Trump. We need to do something different about this 5-decade war on poverty that has failed with the progressive sense. That 94 million Americans out of the workforce. We need to put the incentive to work to help people rise up. If we simply do those 4 items, we're going to have growth in this country. And then we could take care of the national security, which we need to be. We need to be leaders.
That's very exciting. What are you expecting from the speeches tonight? And do you think that the speeches tonight will be able to communicate what you're saying and have that resonate with the average guy and gal out there, the average voter? Because next week we're going to hear a different song from the Democratic National Convention. You know that, in Philadelphia. And they're going to talk about raising the minimum wage. And they're going to talk about raising taxes on the highest earners, which includes small business.
So what you're going to hear there next week is the status quo. So if we want to stay in these doldrums that we've been in, or do we want a fundamental change? Look, I feel in history repeats itself. We're a lot like where we were in 1979. Are we going to make that fundamental leap to change America, have the next decade of growth, as some of the strongest growth we've seen in the past, have a strong economy, a strong America, but what's more important, a brighter future for the next generation?
What should be our most important takeaway from the speeches tonight, you think?
You know what? I think Ivanka would be very strong. And for anyone that's sitting back and wondering about Donald Trump, look at his children. That says a lot of the man of who he is and who he's been able to raise. And look at the love. You've watched them speak on this podium all week. They have been impressive. I think Ivanka would be just as impressive, maybe even more so. There's something special about a man that has a tight-knit family that has been able to raise them, and they've all been a part of it. They'll be a part of his campaign as well. So I want people to see that side of him, too, because I don't know that many have.
That's terrific. Congressman, great to have you on the program.
It's always great to be with you.
Thanks so much, Congressman Kevin McCarthy.